Hello, friends, and happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a beautiful week. I hope you enjoyed Father's Day weekend. Of course, welcome to here, a very special show, of course, Level Up Live and joining us on many social media platforms. Always great to join you here on this live discussion. Let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the show. Yes, I'm Winnie, your host and award winning financial pro, a Forbes and CNBC contributor and CNBC council member. And yes, we are streaming here live on many different social media platforms. So jump in, say hello, introduce yourself. A big, of course, thank you to Vicky and Joshua and Samir and Kim and Paul, I think of this week for sharing our show. We truly appreciate it. The market is still currently open, but it's been kind of an up and down day. The Dow is currently down, actually, it just went positive. The Dow is currently up 15 points. The Nasdaq's up 9.5, and S&P 500's up over 10 points currently as well. I don't know. It's been an interesting morning if you've been following the financial markets. But some of the news that have been coming out that I want to put on your radar, one big story that's been shared all over social media is coming from our friends at CNBC talking about Apple ending its buy now, pay later loans here in the United States. Now, they said that they've stopped issuing these sort of loans through its buy now, pay later program, through Apple Pay Later, which launched actually just last year. So they're saying new installment options will be coming starting later this year, but Apple Pay will offer these installment loans through third party companies such as Affirm and credit debit card issuers such as Citigroup. But the new installment options will be accessible now, not just here in the United States, but globally. So unlike Apple Pay Later, which was at that time just available here in the United States. So this is sort of a big shift, indicating that not all new fintech features from Apple are going to hit a home run, but that they're really trying to align to their overall strategy and figuring out when it makes sense for them to do it themselves and when it makes sense to, of course, collaborate with other financial companies. But users who have existing Apple Pay Later loans are still able to manage and pay their loans using their current features. But Apple's saying they really want to just really focus on Apple Pay, ensuring that it's secure and there's private payments and all that. So let me know what you think. Like, did you ever use the Apple Pay Later system? Was it easy to use? And like, how often do you do that? I know that, these loans, of course, allow you to just apply for these loans within the iPhone wallet app. That made it really convenient. And Apple was handling credit checks and loan decisions. But I think what this might be now, this the article didn't talk about this, but I would think that Apple's probably going all in on AI right now and just wants to focus on the things that they do best. And perhaps they're just realizing that this might be better handled by a third party. So let me know if you do this, buy now, pay later system. I will say that I am not a fan of this, and for true financial independence and to really have your personal finance, if you really want to be gung-ho and be like strong in terms of your personal finances, I would absolutely stay away from this buy now, pay later features. Do what you need to do to save, but there are certain things, maybe for your, a mortgage on a home where you need to buy now and pay later for your mortgage payments. And possibly, I say possibly, for a car, but I say the majority of the time it is best to save up and then buy the car or any other expenses or things that you need to afford. Try making this buy now, pay later be an absolute last resort, with the exception of, I think, mortgages and possibly a college education. Those are probably my two maybes. Okay. House for sure. student loan maybe. But okay, let's continue on. I want to talk about Tesla and how they're seeking legal approval because if you haven't heard already, Tesla has is now currently challenging a Delaware judge's decision to void Elon's like mind-boggling huge compensation package, citing a recent shareholder vote, of course, two-third vote in fact, that agreed to Elon's huge compensation program. Tesla is arguing that it was a shareholder vote which occurred last Thursday, which significantly affects the Delaware court's previous judgment, and that this should be considered in the legal proceedings. Now, understand it wasn't like everybody agreed to this whopping huge billion plus deal, but they're saying that shareholders did decide that this was something that they felt was okay, was acceptable, and yet the courts ruled January that Elon had influenced the 2018 process for his pay package, and that Tesla failed to fully inform their shareholders about the ease of achieving the compensation targets. So Tesla's board said that they formed a special committee to reassess the pay package, and that this concluded that in the shareholders' best interest, it was best to keep Elon happy and to pay him quite a bit of money. So, in order to rectify past deficiency, Tesla provided shareholders with extensive disclosures this time, including a 200-page opinion page report as well. Now the Delaware court must determine whether the legal fees for the shareholders' attorneys, the plaintiffs seeking about $5 billion in Tesla stock, while Tesla suggests a payment of approximately $13.6 million. Tesla plans to appeal this ruling to the Delaware Supreme Court, pending a resolution, of course, on legal fee issues as well. So, yeah, craziness. It never gets boring. But then, I read an article just this week talking about, well, what would shareholders feel about Tesla in the potential that Elon was no longer part of Tesla? Would it still be as interesting of a story? So that is only for you to answer. I don't have the answer for you today. But let's continue on. We're going to talk about McDonald's. McDonald's is also making changes on their front. I thought this was an interesting story because you know how all these different companies are going all in on AI? Well, this one's slightly different in that, they are suspending their AI drive-through ordering amid some challenges that they've been having with their customer base. This is reported on CNN, talking about how they're halting AI ordering, pausing all AI ordering technology in their drive-throughs across more than 100 US locations because issues such as misrecognition of accents and background noise have led to you getting your wrong order, causing people to be frustrated, causing dissatisfaction amongst their customer base. And so, this AI system, which was developed, in fact, in collaboration with IBM, which still they say their IBM is still a trusted partner for them, even though that this technology is being suspended. But the AI technology will be shut down in its test locations by next month, by July 26th. So I guess if you're going to McDonald's now, you can still test out in some certain locations their AI technology. But McDonald's is not abandoning AI technology entirely, they say. They just plan to explore more long-term scalable voice ordering solutions by the end of 2024, which makes a really interesting point because even though the technology might be available now, but it probably isn't as conducive and isn't as smart yet to be able to recognize orders from people from different nationalities and different backgrounds and having different nuances in the way that they speak and they order I guess, their Big Mac. But other fast food chains, including companies such as Wendy's and White Castle, they're also testing AI ordering systems, and they're also facing similar technology challenges, which is not completely unheard of or unexpected, given that the United States is such a melting pot of people with all different backgrounds and nationalities, and of course the ways that we speak. Even if you compare people from here in California versus like when I go visit New York City or going to visit Texas, there's going to be different nuances in the way that we speak and how quickly our, enunciation is and everything else. So I guess AI just isn't there quite yet, which isn't completely surprising. If you've used technologies such as Google Voice or Google Translate, you've probably experienced that you've had to change the way that you speak for the technology to pick up and quite completely understand what you're trying to say as well. If you've ever used things like yeah, just I mean those types of technologies, or even, even if you see movies, right, and they have their subtitles, you see even they have challenges there as well. So I think the technology has a little bit ways to go, but the AI initiative was part of McDonald's sort of accelerating the Arches growth plan. And so they just want to enhance the customer experience through innovation, but looks like that needs to go back to the drawing board just a bit. Now, speaking of things that are changing, which I don't think this is such a great thing, but something that we should discuss anyway, because there's so many of you out there who I know are pet lovers, and maybe you have a fur baby at home. And this might be something that you've been talking about. And if not, maybe this should be on your radar, because Nationwide, which is a huge insurance company, is now dropping pet insurance for over 100,000 policies, leaving many pet owners in a really tough bind. This was shared on USA Today. And so Nationwide has canceled so many policies. They said they are now not going to be renewing pet insurance for about 100,000 different pets, citing rising costs at the vet and other financial pressures. So many of these affected policies are unfortunately for older pets who have pre existing conditions, which are just really difficult to insure elsewhere. So a lot of these pet owners are in a really big bind right now. In fact, one of the pet owners that they interviewed for this story, Christy Keith, has paid over $700 a month for pet insurance, now facing uncertainty as her dogs, which are older, are going to be needing medical treatment, and they're going to be losing coverage. So it's really unfortunate. I mean, you could think about this not just for pets, but for your older family members. I mean, these are we, as you know, pets are like family in many households, and to not know how they're going to get their necessary medical care, their medical prescriptions, is really a big daunting problem. So Nationwide stated that these cancellations are necessary for maintaining their long-term viability and profitability, and that inflation and just rising costs are really having a significant impact, and so they just have no choice. So pet owners aren't just going to sit back and wait for this to happen. In fact, owners are now organizing, with some even considering legal action against Nationwide. So affected owners now have formed a Facebook group to discuss their options. So if you are one of these 100,000 owners of this, pet owners who have had Nationwide pet insurance, do know that they are, I guess you're meeting on Facebook and you can meet them there. But most pet insurance policies don't actually cover pre-existing conditions, which now makes it even more challenging for owners of older pets to find new insurance. So maybe this is what the solution is unfortunately those of you who have pets and your pets are younger, which I know Curtis, our creative director, who is on the show, does have a younger pet. Maybe this is something, if you're thinking about, maybe you got to get this early on. And unfortunately, that also means you're paying premiums for much longer too. And you may not need that sort of coverage when your pet's still younger and still in better shape. So experts are suggesting alternatives like saving in a high yield account for pet care and finding a vet who's willing to work out payment plans. So this is a great idea. And I will say, obviously, not everybody's able to do this. But if you have the ability to do so and your pet is younger, it would make sense to meet with a financial advisor, financial firm to discuss different options that could in a way that you could potentially invest and maybe self-insure for your older pet in the future, and then making sort of that savings earlier rather than later. No different than if you were saving for your retirement or saving for your child's education, knowing like how long before your pet could potentially start to need higher medical expenses. You can try to self insure, if not all of it, but a portion to kind of help with costs a little bit. But these cancellations are going to be varying by state. So definitely look if you are insured with Nationwide or any other insurance company, it probably makes sense to go ahead and check up on your policy and just to see if there's anything that you can do to ensure that you won't be dealing with an unexpected cancellation. So these policies are being discontinued due to economic pressures, but nonetheless make sure to know what policy you have, and of course to make those calls if you need to see if there's any other options available to you. And with that, let's take a look at the market. All right, green across the board again. Dow is currently up 10 points. Nasdaq's up 12 points currently, and the S&P 500 is currently up 11 points. And with that, please hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated for all the latest business content, all the biggest trending topics, and watch full episodes of Level Up previous episodes at NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And thank you so much for everybody who's been sharing this show online. And for those of you who want to and you're brand new to the show, make sure to tag at Winnie Sun to show your support so I can also thank you in a future episode. Thank you so much, Debbie, for doing everything that you've done. Renee, we really appreciate you. And of course, to listen to Yes Factor with Winnie Sun, this is a podcast on Apple Podcasts and produced in conjunction with the LinkedIn Podcast Network. With that, be well. I'll see you again this week. Have a beautiful day. Take care now. Bye bye.